Cannot tell. uh, let's see. We are connected on Facebook. Let's see. I think we're connected. Yeah, we're connected. I think I see Facebook. I see YouTube and Twitch. Yo, we got the program. Let me make sure this thing's working. You guys know how it be. Let me play my intro. Hey, 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 hey. Whoa. That's my song. You guys don't know our channel, bro. That's how we get started. Oh, we are live. Yo, that's cool. Oh man, I think we're working. I don't know. We got everybody. One more time, or maybe two more times. We got Twitch on here. We got YouTube on here. We got Facebook on here. Dang, we got everybody on here. Hey, 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 hey. I'm enjoying this. That is cool. Yo, that works so well. I'm texting Tony right now, guys. Yo, that's good. Let's cut that. Or is it inverted gear? Yo, what's going on, guys? We back. We are back. Man. All right, shout out to... This is the only reason I really did this stream. Of course, I'll do a full show, but shout out to Hyperfly. They listened to all our complaints, all our whining about their collab with Playboy, and they actually just put out this statement. So huge shout out to Hyperfly. You know, I really respect you guys listening to the community. You know, some brands don't do that. They don't listen. They do whatever they want to do. But I think that's great. That they're listening to their community. In this case, you know, we had some people that were for this collaboration. I had some friends that were for it, and then you had a lot of people that were against it. We'll read some of the comments on the side there. I think you guys can see that, right? But yeah, I just wanted to shout them out. You know, I actually like Hyperfly. My friend Jared, Big Jared Dopp, was sponsored by those guys, and you know, they sponsor a lot of great athletes. You know, Anna Rodriguez. They have Adele Fornerino. I think Izaki's on there. If you guys know anybody else that's on Hyperfly, let me know. Jared was on there. Hyperfly. You forgot about my man Jared, Hyperfly. You know, he retired though, kinda. Let's read it, guys. It says, "We hear you. We want to extend our deepest apologies to anyone who feels disappointed or let down by this collaboration. We humbly respect the concerns being voiced and want you to know that this is a partnership, or that this partnership was not entered into lightly." Alrighty. It says, "We are aware of Playboy's past, though today Playboy is a brand led and shaped by mostly women, working to rewrite its own narrative, and that evolution is what drew us to the conversation." Well, we didn't know that. We didn't have all the information. I did not know that, so thanks for sharing, Hyperfly. "However, we understand that for many, this certainly doesn't change the impact and how it may make you feel, and for that we sincerely apologize. You are our priority." That's great, man. I love seeing. I mean, I don't like, you know, this can be toxic. I'm hoping this is a positive. situation where the majority, the mass of people kind of push back against a brand. And I can't see where this can be taken too far or be misused. But I think this was a good time. This was a good one. Hopefully, it says, because we value this community and everything it stands for, we've decided to pause this collaboration for now and take time to reflect on the criticisms we've received. We're listening and we're learning. Our intention has always been to uplift women, women's voices, and women's safety, not harm, and we are committed to doing better. Thank you for holding us accountable. We don't take your voices lightly. Our community is what makes Hyperfly. Without it, we are just another brand. So that's great, guys. I'm glad that they did that. And they're saying that Playboy is trying to kind of reshape their history. I don't know. That's not my field. I would like to see them partner with maybe a better brand. Is there a better brand out there, guys, that Hyperfly could collab with? I'm not the biggest brand person. I'm not the biggest fashion person. But if you guys know any better brands, yeah, please let us know so we can put them in contact with Hyperfly. And then, man, that would be really great. If you guys know any of those brands out there or organizations. So please share. I think we're on YouTube. YouTube, you guys are there? Let me check real fast, guys. Got a new stream going on, streaming 8 different places. I think we are live though. Let me see. I can't see anything, man. So let's read some of the comments. It says, proud to represent a company that listens and acts. Wow. This is from Pretty Good. Another person says, Mighty Mouse competed with an OnlyFans logo on his gi at IBJJF. I'm sure you guys are fine. I didn't notice that. OnlyFans didn't start off what it is today. It started off as a way for celebrities and influencers to connect with their fans. And it morphed into something different. And, Playboy started off as something different, and it seems like they're trying to morph into something better, hopefully. Only time can tell. I will say that OnlyFans does not have the best brand image for most people. For most people. You say OnlyFans, I'm thinking OnlyFans girls or OnlyFans models, OnlyFans, performers. Even then, I would say the same thing. If it was OnlyFans instead of Playboy, I would have made the same video, guys. I would have gotten the same hate from online people, from online trolls, as much as I'm getting now. So, yeah, I would have done the same thing. It says, what's the problem with Playboy? So sometimes we get trolls in here, guys. We get some trolls that just want to see the world burn. It says, if my mother was on Playboy in the past, she would be rich like lots of celebs. You would have been, I don't know if you would have grown up the same, bro. It says, no, I wasn't kidding. Never read into the history of Playboy and what they do. Thanks for informing me, though. Makes sense why people spoke out. Well, I don't know how you never heard of Playboy, but, it's a different time period now. He said it would have been her choice, female power. That is true. It would have been her choice. But I assure you, she was not wearing the Playboy. She would not have been wearing Playboy everywhere, right? She would have kept that professional, and in her regular day life, she probably would have kept that separate. But I'm not trying to offend anybody. Before people in the comments start attacking me, I get attacked a lot. Let's see. Never apologize to the mob. Make your moves. Let the haters hate. That is cool, but when you're a brand and you say you represent something, and then you do something that's kind of opposite, people will let you know, either online through these messages, through the outcry. They might start, pulling back on, buying your gear, your products. So, especially now with the economy the way it is, you can't afford to alienate your customers, your clients, your community. So I'm not saying you're not gonna have mishaps. We all have mishaps, but you got to be able to pivot. You got to be able to pivot. Someone says never apologizing or taking time to reflect on our choices is something small, weak people do. That's true. Someone says you can still sew a Playboy bunny patch on your gi and run all your classes. That way, all your members know where you stand. Make your moves. Another person says, I don't condone Playboy, and I'm against the, I don't know, the industry. I think it contributes to social decay. What I don't like is bullying a company because they don't agree. So what? Don't agree? They have freedom, and they are exercising it. It's sad that they cave to pressure. It's soft. Someone says, what mob? Their followers? The people who support their business? What are you talking about? It's not about right or wrong. It's about listening to how our choices impact others and responding with empathy. Nobody is forcing anyone to do anything. Hyperfly is just choosing to change their behavior based on feedback from their clientele. It takes strength, courage, and humility to listen to our community, bulldozing ahead with no regards for the people who support you is weak. Kindness is not equal to weakness. Someone says, I love the collab. Send me one. So we don't know who's trolling, who's real out here, guys. So that's why I don't get too angry or upset, because I'm usually like, I don't know if this is a real person I'm arguing with. I might be arguing with a bot. I'm arguing with ChatGPT. Yeah, who am I arguing with? Yeah, who am I arguing with? I don't know. I'm not gonna waste my time arguing. But I do listen to feedback. I'm not always responding to all the feedback, because sometimes I get some negative stuff. But I do, I'll read what's going on. Someone says, for the love of God, being offended by absolutely everything. Kind of skipped one. Someone says they were only in women's sizes, but they paused it. When they continue, you will continue only rolling with men. Please stay away from women. I don't know what that meant. Someone says, be quiet. I agree with people being offended by everything recently. However, a sport like jiu-jitsu, where you have essentially free reign over other people's bodies, putting people's bodies into compromised positions, and the inherently intimate physical connection required, collabs and products specifically targeting, I don't know what to say for that, targeting natural urges have no place within the sport or culture and should be actively shunned. I personally thought this collab was in extremely poor taste with that in mind. Oh yeah. Is there a way for me to move that? Oh, I hope I can see everything. Yeah, that's what they're saying. I'm just reading, guys. Don't attack me. This was a thoughtful this is as thoughtful a reply as you could ask for. They did some good some management here. They did some good work here. But when people promote things about I can't talk, guys. Spirit of Justice, what's going on, bro? Says didn't know Playboy was still a thing. I didn't know either. I didn't know this was a thing either. But we still remember. We still remember. And apparently Hyperfly says that they are trying to change their brand image. Sometimes you gotta, I understand the Playboy has a brand name, people know what it is. Sometimes you gotta start your own, you gotta restart everything, start from square one, rebuild. And sometimes we can put these old brands away. It's okay to get rid of them. But yeah. Let's see. But when people promote things about protecting our kids from trafficking or schools, they are quiet or bashing. I don't understand. This is just people wanting to feel important. They don't as much as they're leading on. I don't know what that means. Quiet or bashing. Oh, bashing. Maybe an OF logo would be acceptable. If you're Craig Jones, you can do that. But eventually that gets old, right? You think Craig Jones will still be wearing the OnlyFans when he's, late 30s, 40s, 50s. I think at that point he's going to be, matured enough to put that stuff away, and hopefully he's still alive. I hope, fingers crossed for Craig Jones. He's been burning the candle on both ends, but someone else says, I was thinking exactly the same. Craig Jones literally released that whole range. Where was the activities then? Well, we don't expect Craig Jones to be, morally upright or social or, socially aware. I mean, he actually is. You see, they do a lot in, underprivileged areas and other underprivileged countries. But you don't expect that from Craig Jones. It's cool when you see him do cool stuff like that, giving back to the communities. That's cool. We don't expect it. But with Hyperfly, they were, promoting women's voices, their teaching, their training, and to come back with the Playboy, there was kind of a disconnect to me. So if you guys are just joining, I was asking if you guys know any brands that Playboy could collab with that would be, more uplifting than the past Playboy. I'm not sure about the new Playboy. I don't know. I didn't know they were still around, but if you guys know any better brands that are doing some good stuff in the communities out here, please let us know, and then maybe they can work with Hyperfly instead. I'd rather see a company like that, maybe a smaller company or something else than Playboy. Sorry, Playboy. Let's see. I'll still take one of them for free. Someone says, men in the comments acting like something was taking away from them when the collab was only in women's sizes anyway. But I mean, we're all in one community. Women do have a voice. But maybe they didn't feel comfortable speaking out loud about this topic. I made a video about this I think yesterday, and today, look what happened. I'm not taking all the credit for this, obviously. I want to, but I think the more voices, male or female or whatever gender there's out there, I think the more voices that speak up, the more power it gives us. Before I offend somebody, somebody's attacking me. Let's see. Craig Jones could have done this without any issues. Yeah, but is Craig Jones pushing for, uplifting women and women's voices and their safety? No, that's not what he's doing. That's not what he's doing. I mean, honestly, Craig does whatever he wants, right? I don't know if that's good or bad, but he does whatever he wants. Maybe he needs somebody to rein him in as well. I don't know. I don't know the back end, guys. Someone says, no cap, this would have been sold out by now. Yeah, that would have been sold out by now. And, I mean, is Craig the best role model for everybody? I don't know. I don't hate the guy. I don't hate him or anything. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you guys respond better to people like Craig Jones and Gordon Ryan. So that's, if they could have been famous and popular and made a lot of money without having to, take on these personas, basically, I think they would have done that. Back in the day when they were just winning, people didn't really care. But when they started doing more saying crazier things, doing crazier things, that's when they blew up, right? So it's kind of on the community. So that can be toxic as well. The community kind of feeds into it. And we see this on Reddit. Reddit can be very toxic as well. We talked about Mikey Musumeci, and they kind of ran Mikey off of Reddit. Mikey's the nicest guy. Outside of that time he had that breakdown. He crashed out on one championship that one time. But otherwise, he's a great guy. And then they kind of forced Mikey off the platform. So, Reddit's not always the best place either. I try to hold them accountable. If I see some BS on Reddit, I call them out. All right, so shout out to Hyperfly for doing a good job. I really respect them for listening to their brand, their their clientele, the people, and just look at they didn't need that that Playboy collab. Did they? Look, they got great athletes out here. They got Adele. They got A-Rod. They got a lot of strong females out there. They didn't need to do that. They could have done anything else, man. They could have partnered with Girls and Geese. I don't know if they have a partnership, but wouldn't that have been a better partnership to me? Girls and Geese and Hyperfly. That would have been awesome, bro. We all would have been supporting that. We all would have been supporting that. Look at that, man. That's just, someone, I think someone on one of my posts was like, you don't see that in any other sport. Where was Playboy in other sports? Were they in women's basketball, volleyball, soccer, tennis, wrestling, judo? We haven't seen any collaborations with those sports, but they wanted to, collab with us. It's hard enough to get the girls into jiu-jitsu and wrestling and, wanting to feel comfortable. And I just, I get it. They said Playboy's trying to change. Sometimes you gotta leave the past and you gotta let the past go. Gotta let that past go, guys. So we got a few more things, bro. I was tired. I wasn't gonna do that, but my boy Zach was like, "Man, do a video on it." So I wanted to do that. So now we got a day in the life of Victor Hugo. Hopefully that music don't get me hit with something. All right, so we'll see if we can play that. Can I go full screen? Actually, I don't need full screen. You guys know what this is from?
Welcome to my morning routine.
I don't think we're gonna watch all of it. 14 minutes. I'm tired. Austin, Texas, bro. You know how many people are there?
I woke up probably less than an hour ago. Try to eat as quick as possible. So whenever I get to training, I'm not super full, because training can be hard. Like all the guys gonna roll hard and stuff. So yeah, I usually start my day really mellow, nothing crazy.
3 eggs.
Every day I like to switch back between these and oats. But today I feel like eating a little bit of bread.
You got the sourdough, bro?
Should be like
what is that?
Higher volume day because we're gonna lift a pro athlete. I'm gonna go to the HQ to train with the guys. So doing 2 hard things. I don't think it's detrimental to do a little bit more calories, eat a little more carbs. It doesn't make me too full for training.
That bread's sticking out, bro.
1 hour before.
Hey, did he put that in right? Is that how your toasters be working, guys? All right, you got 3 eggs, some coffee, and 2 pieces of toast. That ain't too bad. That might be about 500 calories, maybe. A little bit of yogurt or something, some butter.
But that's the easiest way.
All right, you about to get that 500 calories. Oh, he's weighing his food?
I don't know, man. I think people that are like biohacking stuff, they're gonna be proud of me.
Yo, in Texas, they got a biohack. You got some juice. All right, you about 500 calories, maybe.
Good sources.
How many calories do you think you got, guys?
Stuff. I think my feelings are kind of help me a ton of that. I usually wouldn't care, but I don't know. Now that I got used to it, I can tell the difference. Definitely feels better. I know it's a bit more expensive, but that's why you have Costco. They have a lot of organic stuff, and a lot of my friends that have chickens. We make our own sourdough.
My man, a mouth breather.
You cooking something and you feel that it's organic, or you know where it's coming from. And
don't come after me, Victor Hugo.
Big into it, a lot of
I can't fight you off, bro.
Organic stuff, lunch is gonna be organic turkey.
I can't fight him off, bro.
Yeah,
I need my man Dustin. Dustin, come back me up.
Turkey and whole wheat pasta. So I think with the age, I'm not super old, but now that I'm a bit more experienced.
Bro, he's like 22.
I'm just looking to,
what are you talking about?
The best things put into my body so I can perform the best.
Why is he eating with a spoon?
It's funny because
I'm
athlete stuff, but sometimes
sorry guys, I'm tired. Just talking.
A 9 to 4 or something job because of the driving that I have to do and how the timing works. Today we're gonna leave around 9ish, and I'll probably be coming back around 3 or 4 because we train, then I have lunch, then I have to drive to strength and conditioning, and then we take our time there as well. So it ends up like taking a big part of my day, big chunk of my day.
Welcome to America, bro. Especially Texas, you gotta drive.
Let's go. What you want more day? I do my training at the Six Flags headquarters with Shanji. It's located in North Austin right now. We're like on the west side, so it gives me like 30 minutes. And as I said, I don't really mind the drive at all. Like, if it was longer to that, it would probably get to the point where it's like, oh man, it's like a long drive. But it's like right under 30, maybe 25. And yeah,
That music's gonna get me.
It's actually one of the parts of the day that I look forward to, you know, just get on the zone, get there, get a good session in.
Nice little ride. I don't know where he is, bro. Where in Texas was Austin? What's that? All right, Six Blades. Shout out to Six Blades. I've been there before. Got the Tesla Cybertruck right there. Is that Sanji's car?
Here we are. About to get started.
All right, that's Felipe Costa. We talked about him. Unfortunately, he got popped by USADA.
Now, if we go from our belly down.
Don't come for me, bro. You might come after me, bro.
Belly down,
I'm just reporting what happened.
touch. Touch.
Nice.
Touch. This is gonna force your back line to fire the whole time. So when you go here, the more you
A little bit of
can
movement.
lift
That's awesome, guys.
this
Think about adding that to
the
your
more that arm
programs.
can travel without
I mean, I don't know where you
lifting
find this guy, but
Exactly.
he looks
We wanna
like
get you here
he came out of some rainforest.
Because what I'm really looking for is this.
I warm up jiu-jitsu with jiu-jitsu, you know, so I think Budokan is a way to shadow jiu-jitsu
Budokan?
without having an opponent.
Never heard of that,
Basically,
guys.
how
Have you
to
heard of that?
educate your body, how to move from point A to point B more efficiently. I see a lot of the movement patterns within my jiu-jitsu, so I'm able to put them through a workout, you know, and then associate that with a certain jiu-jitsu technique. For me, it's the perfect priming for the practice of jiu-jitsu.
Shout out to Sanji.
So today ended up being a technical day as expected, you know. We worked a lot on the Kimura, which is a position that I actually been trying to work a lot. So it's just good to, even though I'm in a training camp.
So he's
which you're
fighting in
perform
Who's Number
your
One or
best.
Fight Pass? I don't
I
know.
still take some time to just learn to get better. at
He
jiu-jitsu.
fought
I
Nicky
never-
Rod.
I just never stay away from that.
a little bit ago.
Sometimes, you know, athletes are getting prepared for big tournaments, big matches. They're so focused, you know, on winning every session, on being sharp, and sometimes you kind of slow down the process of learning. For me, the process of learning is continuous. Doesn't really matter which match I'm doing, who I'm facing. So today was a lot about learning, working some details. I was able to hit a couple times during the training, which makes me happy.
Keep
And then
learning,
during the
guys. Keep
rounds,
learning.
I tried to be a little bit open as well, play with different stuff. We had a couple different bodies. Had somebody that was bigger.
I
had
think we
somebody
covered some of these
faster,
matches,
lighter,
some
move
of these
fast.
roles.
So I was able to mix up a lot.
I think having him and I in the same card is super nice. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and you can. You know, Victor Hugo, Philippe, Noah, you know, all the teams.
Sanji's also
Lovato,
competing,
they
guys,
always
against,
evolving. And for me, it's
Gio?
exciting. You know, it's exciting.
Yeah, I think he's
to
fighting
actually
against
do something
fighting against
different.
Gio.
But I think being who's number one is very special, and the real number one's back.
Hey, that music gonna get me. They got me. Shout out to Victor Hugo, bro. He's been doing well, you know. I always thought he was good. I mean, he's also
when I moved
huge.
to the U.S., this guy right here, he's kind of like my boss. I would help him, you know, like clean the trashes, clean the bathrooms. I don't know, like sweep. But I didn't know to do most of that. And he explained to me really well, like how to do things. But sometimes I tried to be smart. And I remember one day he wanted me to clean the floors of the bathroom a certain way. And then I used a different product and I laid the shit out of the product, like all of the floor, and I mopped.
Oh, no.
And I was like, man, this is way better. And then I laughed. So I think with Shanji, everybody comes to train and their foot is literally like
Slipping, yeah. Oh no, sticky.
it's like they have glue on their feet. And then he looked at me and was like, what the hell did you do, man? I gave you the recipe. And then that was one of the things that I remember, you know. Like, and then
He's still young, guys. I think he's like 22.
On the attic.
Let me check.
Like the attic is like maybe hip height, and then you see this giant coming out of that looks like a monster.
So he didn't make a good janitor, I guess.
No.
I'll try to like come up with my own ways to do things, and sometimes
Yo,
it's
don't
not
come
that
up
good,
with a new way to clean up, bro.
It's the worst feeling. You get like into the bathroom, your foot starts sticking around. And
Oh,
you gotta
dang, he's 27. I thought he was young.
whatever.
Maybe I'm just old. He's 1997. Is that the same car he was in? Did he just change cars? He was in a different car, right, guys? Maybe he's riding with somebody.
So right now we're for athlete,
Hey,
we're
bro, you
training
know they're in
with
Texas,
John
bro.
Welborn. He's the leader for our athlete, the guy that created the whole thing. I come here to do my strength conditioning. It's a private gym, so a lot of dudes dream of this one day. Just have a gym and cars. He knows what he's done here.
Hey, so we're noticing that a lot of these guys do their strength and conditioning. A little bit of salt bike, some pushing, some pulling. Little effect there, nice. Little gimbal move.
I feel like for so many hours you put on the mats, you have to put so many hours on the gym to kind of like get your body kind of all balanced it out and feeling healthy. So that's kind of the relationship I built with lifting. When I was coming up, I didn't lift as much, and if I had to go back and regret something, that's probably the only thing I regret. Not because of a matter of strength, but just because I think it does help me stay out of injuries. And I was able to meet a lot of people and learn some cool stuff from people inside the fitness industry as well. So I think both merge pretty well. And it's cool to see also a lot of people from the fitness industry seeing that they can use their superpower, it's the strength in jiu-jitsu. And I think that relationship has been growing a lot over the years. And yeah, that's kind of like my relationship with it. Like if I have to give somebody advice to just start training jiu-jitsu, is also try to, stay healthy outside of jiu-jitsu. That means following a good diet, find a lifting schedule that works for you. You don't have to become a full-time bodybuilder, but find something.
A lot of jiu-jitsu people look like bodybuilders, guys.
The sun came out.
Yeah, right about time. Finish training. Let's go hop on the lake. And beautiful day, It's funny. It's all cloudy. Just do our thing. And maybe that's a show of that you gotta be grateful,
He kind of reminds me of Pedro Pano, just huge, big guy. Technical, obviously technical. Hey, the guy show off for flow grappling, bro. Jump in the lake.
It's cold.
He Brazilian, man. It's cold. It's always cold. Hey. So far, he hasn't trained any jiu-jitsu. He trained a little bit of jiu-jitsu.
When I used to live in San Diego, one of the things I'll do during the day, whenever I could, was jump on the ocean. A lot of people don't do it.
The lake
That's,
is
so
a
cool.
downgrade.
But, I always did it. I grew up by the ocean, so I feel like I have a big connection to the water. Whenever I'm training a lot and stuff, I need to get on the water somehow. And if it's like a river or the beach, it's better. The water is pretty cold today, so it feels nice to kind of break the heat from the outside. Also seems to be really fun. There's a lot of fun stuff to do.
That's in a rich area. You see those houses across the river? Dang.
If I'd moved somewhere else where it wasn't.
Is that where Joe Rogan lives?
Cool as here as far as like activities, fun places.
Is that where Joe Rogan
Yeah,
lives?
it's easy, but it's been pretty easy to adjust. And this is what drove like 4 minutes from my house, so it's really nice. No complaints. Good evening, it's everybody. Let's have some fun, do some jiu-jitsu. Remind you, I'll be competing next month on Taishanji at the Reserve 1. Also, I'm on an ATV show. This guy's here recording it. No, just joking. But yeah, let's have fun tonight. Let's do some jiu-jitsu, alright?
Let's-
Jogging, go.
Even the best guys in the world got to teach that beginner's class. All right, guys, tripping to warm up.
As I'm here, I'm off balance him, and I'm bringing the elbow closer so he doesn't have that post. I'm gonna fall
No
to
matter
the
how good
shoulder,
you are, you still gotta
my
teach.
left
You gotta
pulse,
teach
and
the
my
same old basics. Here's a hook sweep.
As an athlete, I do get extra mat time working on techniques that I usually oversee. And it almost allows me also to work on new things because I get a position and I give it to my students. Some of them, you know,
Is that still Six Blades, or is it
and I can see
a different
how, like,
school?
what things they're doing different. I can also practice on them.
It looks
So
different, right?
It's
Or is it a different room?
time on the mats, but also outside of the mats because I also have to think about the things I want to teach.
It looks like a different
kind of like make it the
space,
easiest
right?
to
It doesn't look
digest
the
for
same.
my students. I just show them stuff that I have done in competition before, or stuff that I'm trying to implement in competition. Tonight I kind of show a little bit of what we worked earlier, and I'll be working on that in the future as well.
They have more than
And
one
that's how
school
things
there?
evolve.
Oh, I thought they just had one school. That's a different location, right, guys? Hey, oh, dang. Jesus. Shout out to my old dudes out there. You know, still rolling. You see this old grappler out there.
All right, everybody. Good seeing you guys. Good night of jiu-jitsu. Have a good rest of your night. Good seeing everyone. Good week of training.
This is kind of the Brazilian way. Like, they do their hard training in the mornings.
I would just finish teaching
And in the
class.
evenings, kinda
I'm
more
heading
chill.
home, set up my recovery, get some sleep, get some nice protein, you know. But yeah, tune in. I'll be competing on April 18th for the Who's Number 127. I'll be facing Luke Griffin. And yeah, see
Oh,
you
he's
out
fighting
there.
Luke Griffith?
We're competing here in
Okay,
Austin. Super
Griffin.
happy with the opportunity. Let's go.
Griffith. I think he said Griffin. Luke Griffin. That's awesome, bro. Yeah, I'll try to check out that Who's Number One. It's gonna be pretty good. There was another match I was looking at. See if I can pull it up in a little bit. So ADCC official. We got Lovato. You guys love Rafael Lovato, right? Says ADCC legend Lovato Jr. BJJ is here competing in his home city. Watch the 2025 ADCC Oklahoma City Open live. So that's great to see him out there. He's got a match versus John Carlo, I believe. Yeah. So it looks like he's getting a little warm up in. I mean, don't get it wrong. He's still good. He's still good. So shout out to him. You know, my interesting story about him is that my friend Chris Moriarty had a match versus Lovato, and poor Chris, he broke his leg. Oh no, Chris broke his leg. In the match, he like stepped weird, I think the mat was weird or something. Something got in the way. Broke his leg. Had to get a metal rod placed in there. And I think it was a metal rod or screws, something. And then he had a few months before having to compete at ADCC. So he competed at ADCC with a broken leg, basically a broken leg. And he won his first match. And then his second match, he fought Romulo Bahal. Unfortunately, Romulo, Romulo, I love Romulo, but he did my boy dirty. He toe-holded Chris on his broken leg, and then that was kind of the match. So I wish Chris had a better run. You know, maybe. Well, don't feel too bad for my friend Chris. He's a doctor now, so he's doing good. But if he had say he won ADCC back then, he might not have become a doctor. Might not have gotten married to his wife. Might not have had his son. So, you know, everything works out, guys. Everything works out. Talking about tough competitors that are we got Marcus Buchecha. He says gi competition is a closed chapter. Aw. So I guess we won't be seeing Mr. Buchecha at any gi tournaments. You know, it would be kind of cool to see him back, you know. I think his MMA career has kind of stalled a little bit, but you know, he's always got a place in the gi. Maybe he could do some super fights or something, you know. He probably would make more. If he could get like $100,000 a fight or something, I think he would do it, right? It says Marcus Buchecha Almeida, one of the most successful Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athletes in history, seems to have closed the chapter on his gi competition career. He says, I think it was a closed chapter. I did what no one else did. That's true. Buchecha's final appearance, so it says 13-time IBJJF world champion. Yeah, for sure. And his last appearance was in 2019, ending a decade of dominance that began with his first world title win in 2011. So I feel old because I was around 2011. I was a brown belt in 2011. That's how old I am, guys. Over those 10 years, he became known as one of the sport's most complete athletes, excelling in both gi and no gi competition. With the onset of COVID in 2020, he began training in MMA full time, joining forces with elite fighters like Daniel Cormier and Cain Velasquez. He says, I wasn't going to wake up to do a fight that I've been doing for so long. My first world championship was 2011, and the last one was 2019. I stayed there for 10 years, practically on top, dominating the category those 10 years. And the terrible thing about this is that they weren't paying athletes back then. So, that's why we're advocating for, prize money for world championship, more prize money, and more prize money for absolute, hopefully. So all those 10 years, Buchecha wasn't making money from the IBJJF. And, I'm not saying he was struggling, but he had to hustle, seminars, camps, and, all that other stuff he had to do. So now, even now, they still, even if you win worlds, you still got to go and teach classes. Look at Victor Hugo. He's teaching that. He had to teach the hook sweep, which I'm sure you guys have had to do. But yeah, it's rough out here. He emphasized that his decision to step away came from a sense of personal fulfillment. In 2019, I still wanted to fight, but I realized that I wasn't going after anyone anymore. I didn't need to pass him. I didn't need to pass Hodger. I didn't need to pass Fulano. I don't know who that is. I was better. I was fighting to be better than I was last year. So yeah, he didn't have anything to prove. He did more than anybody else probably will ever do. And he says the shift in motivation became even more personal over time. The search was no longer for anyone. It was me trying to be better than myself. And when you beat your goal, you get calm to stop. So yeah, you always got to be willing to set new goals. So his new goal was MMA. I'm not sure how it's going for him now. I feel like he's kind of stalled a little bit. Maybe if he can get into the UFC. I just don't think one championship has like the big name fighters that wait for him. We're not gonna stay on too long, guys. It's 8:00. I'm tired. We got Danaher. I'll try to play as much Danaher as I can, guys.
Here with Professor John Danaher after another pro session here at Roca. Professor, thank you for joining us today. How are you feeling? First question, how are you feeling?
Pretty much the same as always. I have an upcoming hip replacement. I
dang.
had my first hip replacement about 7 years ago, and now my other hip is starting to go.
Oh,
so,
no.
I'll be getting a hip replacement in a couple of weeks.
That's unfortunate to hear. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope everything goes well,
Oh,
of course. Recently, maybe not so recently, but last few months, I saw a post that you made where you talked about potentially having to step away.
Yes.
From your coaching, some coaching duties. Can you tell me more about that?
After the hip replacement, I also have to do a knee replacement.
Oh, man.
That would mean that I have 3 implants in my body, which is usually they recommend you don't really do hard physical work after that. You can get away with 1 or 2 hip replacements. Hip replacements are pretty robust, but the combination of a hip and knee replacement on the same femur is a little questionable, they think. So I don't want to sound pessimistic, but they were like, no, you're not going to be able to do jiu-jitsu after this. So, but they said that with the first hip replacement, so I was able to come back. So,
jiu-jitsu people don't listen, bro.
Well, we certainly hope that you can continue to contribute and
man,
be
that's
part of
pretty
it seems
bad.
So much positive that you're a part of. If you don't mind me zagging a little bit now, that we have an update on that. I also saw something recently about a CJI team, right?
Yes.
And that you guys are in CJI. Can you confirm that yourself, that you guys are entering a team into the CJI 2 event?
Yes. Craig reached out and asked if we'd be interested, and I replied that we would. So we started talking about how that would work, how it would flesh out. They have a very interesting format. It's going to be quite different this year from the last one. The last one is very successful, but it was also a very different situation for them when they were running it. And this time it'll be a team event, but
I'm not the biggest fan of quintet, guys.
In the way in which it's conventionally been done in the past. Most people are familiar with the old quintet style. It is a variation on quintet, but I think Craig's done a very good job of modifying the rules and the structure of the event to remove some of the rather obvious weaknesses of the original quintet, which is a little bit kind of like a crapshoot as to how the matches would go and be ordered.
Sorry, guys.
And I think they've done a very good job. They put a lot of thought into it, and it should be a very exciting event. There's a whole bunch of teams. The interesting contrast will be that most of the teams are actual gyms. Like there's B Team, there's
New Wave.
There's
I
Artos,
forgot about his team.
Gracie Baja. Those are actual gyms. But there's also, as it were, conglomerate teams where you can have like an Australian team or a Brazilian team where they're not committed to one gym, but rather to a whole nation. Like in the case of Europe, it's actually many nations. So
I don't know,
those
man.
teams
I don't
should
know.
have a theoretical advantage because they're not just drawing from one gym, they're drawing from the best of the best from multiple gyms, even across different countries in some cases. So that should add an interesting element to the teams. There's also a very interesting part which the CGI people came up with, the idea of a draft. Each team is allowed a draft, and you can have a team and then bring in someone from outside who comes in, and that should add kind of like a wild card factor to it, which should be very interesting.
Have you thought about how you will go about selecting the 5 participants and filling these spots?
Some of them are just pretty obvious because they're forced upon us. Like Gordon is very sick at this point, so I don't believe he'll be competing again. Nicholas is very badly injured, and he had his first shoulder surgery was not as successful as people were hoping for, so he had to do a second shoulder surgery, so he definitely won't be ready in time. So those two are simply just not there. So that kind of makes some of the decisions easier. We only really have one remaining heavyweight, that's Big Dan, so that's an obvious choice. Luke is our only 99 kilo fighter at this point, so Luke Griffith would be an obvious choice. John Carlo, of course, would be a prime choice at middleweight. I believe Dorian Oliveras would be an amazing addition at 66 kilos. I think his particular style of jiu-jitsu is extremely well suited to the CGI event. He'd be a natural pick. And that leaves 70 kilos, which is, that would be the most difficult one because you have Oliver Taza, you have Davis Asari, you have Isaac Michael and Jason Nolf, and also possibly a
Why they got Nolf in there, man?
draft pick.
Why they got
Wild
Nolf in there,
draft.
guys?
So that
I know you guys love Nolf, but why is he in there?
Speculating here, but I guess we'd have to have an internal trial.
He's good, but man, come
in
on.
the gym, and because all of them want to go. So for 70 kilos, it's not an obvious choice. It's like all the other categories were obvious, and then 77 kilos is like, wow, who's going to go for that? So we'd probably have to do some kind of internal trial and see who qualifies.
That's incredible, and to be able to kind of lock in, it sounds like 4 of these selections this early on, must be a boon to you as a coach to just kind of be able to focus on these things, right?
No, it should be a fun event. It's they've carved out a very interesting position in the realm of big league competitions. Most of the competitions that the athletes enter are single events. One athlete goes in, takes on another athlete, and you see the result. They've gone with the team motif, which is always an exciting way to compete, and they're quite different from all the other big shows out there. So it should be really interesting.
Wonderful. I would like to turn our attention now to Who's Number One, coming up
Yes.
in about 10 days.
Yeah.
Enormous event
Oh,
going
dang, it's coming
down
up.
in Round Rock, Texas. You have quite a few fighters on the card. I'd like to start by talking about Luke Griffith, who you already mentioned,
We're gonna skip that, guys,
taking on Victor Hugo.
because we already talked about Victor Hugo. If you guys want to watch the rest of this, it says John Danaher previews Who's Number 127 and drops major CJI2 news. So, I actually hate to hear this about John. His body's kind of falling apart. I mean, thank God he's made enough money in jiu-jitsu. He's made millions of dollars, so that's good. He could have been way worse off. He could have been in the same physical situation, but no money, and then couldn't retire, couldn't afford the surgery. So I think his life, there's always going to be trade-offs, guys. There's always a trade-off. So there's nothing free out here. There's always a trade-off. Okay. So let's move on. Actually, there was one thing I wanted to pull up. Let's see if I can get it. Shoot, that is not what I wanted. My phone's not coming. It's not working. Let me skip it right now. Actually, what is this called? Let me find it real fast. It's Jody Lee Instagram. Let me find this. That's what I was kind of looking at. Is this it? I don't think that's it. That was not it. Miss Jody? Is this you? Nope. Uh-oh. That's not what I was looking for, guys. I swear. How do you say this girl's name? Let's see. Bearable JPEG. Is this her? Okay, I think that's her. Yo, I had some Instagram models up. No, that's not her either. Oh, there. Yeah, it was. So I just saw this. Adele was fighting. You guys love Adele, right? I know you guys love Adele. Oh, I can't play that song. Woo! So she just had a match in where was this match at? I don't see where it was. Anyway, that's the girls over there. Anyway, here's the match. I just wanted to pull that up real quick. Can't play that either. So we got Adele. I believe she's going for the armbar. You guys know Adele going for the armbar. Come on, guys. Armbar and submission. Uh-oh, look at Adele. Look at her face, guys. Look at her face, bro. She actually feels bad when she breaks people's arms. Look at her face, though. Look at her face when she sits up. She's like, oh, God, are you okay? So she actually feels bad when she breaks people's arms. But some of these people, bro, they be stepping on you. They step on your arm, step on your neck. They don't care about you. So, yeah, just wanted to pull that up. That was kind of cool. Just saw that. Let's go to Reddit. You guys love Reddit. We're not going to stay on too long, guys. You know, I'd be getting tired. It's Saturday. Do you guys keep score when you're rolling? We usually end our class with rolls 3 to 5 minutes. We average 5 to 8 rounds. One of our coaches suggested that we start to keep track of points during the rolls. What's your take on this? Wouldn't this turn the whole exercise to some ADCC finals? I usually say have an idea of the points, maybe, you know, going into a tournament, but if you're training year round thinking about points, that kind of sucks. But, you know, everybody's different. Someone says, brother, as a white belt, your roles should be to the death. You'll never reach Valhalla counting points. That is true. Says the path to blue belt is littered with the bodies of your fellow white belts. That is true. Imagine when you get to black belt, how many bodies are littered around you. We have a chalkboard and keep track of taps. Oh no. whoever ends last since they get sent to Dagestan for 2 to 3 years and forgotten about. The body keeps the score wholeheartedly. Then ask my opponent if they remember how and why we got there, when we got there. I don't know what he meant to say. Whether there are any advantages scored to. If you want to compete, you need to know this. Oh. If you look like the guy from the Goonies that was chained in the basement. Oh, someone says you look like the guy from the Goonies. Dang, they roasted him. That's how you guys be coming after me, bro. That's how they be coming after me online. It says I don't aggregate points at the end of the round, but I do mentally take note. That decision lost me too. I mean, you should understand the positions. The points. That just means understanding the positions and understanding when you scored, when you didn't score. I'll be honest, most people don't know the rules, so, and sometimes the rules are kind of gray. You're like, where did that rule come from? So not only do you need to know the rules, but you need to be kind of up to date on the refereeing and the scoring systems. If you're going to compete, absolutely do it. When you're in a match, you need awareness of the current situation without having to rely on your scoreboard and coaches. It also helps you become aware of how to sequence properly to maximize points. Tracking points during your rolls is different from trying to win every roll. The latter is what would turn the whole exercise into some ADCC finals. I would even say that it's important to have rolls where you lose and are losing so that you begin to understand how you tactically change what to do in a match and when you are behind on points. The drawback to this is that not every tournament uses points. Submission only, there's no points. EBI, there's no points. Who's number one, there's no points. Fight to win, there's no points. They have a scoring system, but there's no points where you're sitting there. ADCC, there's no points in the first half of the match. What else is there? UFC Fight Pass, no points, I don't think. So position is important. Points can be important, but submission. I said position was important, but submissions are ultra important, right? Because it doesn't matter how many points you get. Ultimately, submissions win. When they do that quintet, they don't care about points. They want to see submissions, guys. Think about submissions, okay? Jiu-Jitsu is a submission art form. Didn't you guys know that? It says every student who started as a white belt at our gym does that. It's useful if they ever want to compete, and it forces them to remember roles to debrief it after. After a while, it's automatic and not a conscious effort anymore. This doesn't mean you absolutely need to or have to win. As a coach, I can sometimes let students score on me and just make sure at the end of the roll I have more points. So I'm not gonna read that. Guys, just roll. If you're not competing, who cares? We got Owen Jones. You guys like Owen Jones, don't you? We did a whole video about him. Hopefully he doesn't come after me either. It says Owen Jones works wrestle ups and slick passing at B team. So this is from a couple weeks ago. Hopefully I can post this because this is with Flow Grappling, and me and Flow Grappling, we're pretty cool. Hopefully. Oh, let me see that wrestle up again. How do you do this? So he kind of just went for the leg that was nearby. Alrighty. Nice. Nice back take. Okay. I'm interested in some wrestle ups. If you guys want to see some more wrestle ups, let me know. I need to study them. Crushing the soul of some poor dude. I don't know the guy. I don't know all the B team guys. There's always some new B team people, bro. I'm busy. I can't. I don't have time to remember everybody. I want to see wrestle ups. So they're just kind of free rolling, I guess. Ecological? What is this ecological, guys? So he's back on. I guess he is working more his wrestle ups. Is he trying to kind of be like? He's trying to be like Joseph Chin. So let's see. He's kind of going for this single leg hand fight to open the arm, and then inside grip on the knee to body lock takedown. So if you're fighting Owen Jones, be on the lookout for that move. I'm joking, guys. We ain't studying him right now. Maybe in the future. I might do a video on him. Work in the back. You got me in the background. You see me in the background, guys, with the hair, the dreads. That's me. That's me, guys. I guess they are working this. Are they drilling this, or is everybody doing their own thing? It looks like some other people were doing some body lock stuff. This guy's pretty tough. If you guys know who he is, let me know in the comments. I haven't seen him before. I don't really watch the B Team channel too much, but I'm sure you guys love B Team as well. Nice little kazushi, as you guys like to say. So I guess he's just working his one technique where he goes for the knee. Okay. He's kind of working a lot of stuff. Running into people. That mat is packed, huh? They got a lot of people there. Yo, people were like kicking him, about to kick him in the head and everything. They don't care who Owen Jones is over there. They don't care. They don't care about. Yo. Nice. I don't know about that shot. They don't care who you are over there, bro. They'll kick you in the face. Going for a little false reap roll, or I don't know what that was exactly. Crab ride. Let's see his crab ride skills. Got the Wojcik lock over there. Back step. Okay. Nice, stepping over. I guess they can't play music because they be recording, bro. Got Dima over there. I guess he's in charge. Honestly, I'm glad they got some older dude over there kind of controlling all the stallions. You know they had all these young guys over there. You need the old heads kind of keeping everybody in line. Nice. He's on the leg. Somebody in the split over there. Oh, J-Rod. Oh, he just kind of fell on his back. I don't know what's going on. Got these huge guys over here wrestling right next to them. Joseph Chin was back there somewhere. Another wrestle up. Let's see what he's going to do. Some stand up. Hey. You know those UK guys usually have some judo. Not so much the best wrestling. Nice. But definitely judo is a lot more popular.
I'm good, man. You?
They got the camera guy right there. That's not awkward.
Yeah, this is my kind of second week back almost from the infection from Polaris, but
Infection?
yeah, I feel good. Knees back in shape.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I feel good. Yeah, it's good to be here before the match as well. Proper preparation. Some of my last matches didn't have too much of a good camp, but this one, I feel ready. Feel good.
So he's also on Who's Number One. Is everybody on Who's Number One? This is April 18th. This is next week, bro. Isn't Easter the 19th or something? Was that a Friday? Alrighty. So yeah, that's cool to see. Back on Reddit. It says how to develop solid wrestling while only training BJJ. Well, we just saw how they train wrestling in at B Team. They just be wrestling right there. Where the guys wrestling? Right here. Where was it? Yeah, you just wrestle right there, guys. Just do your, you just got to make time. You can force yourself to do a wrestling round. You can do wrestle ups like these guys were doing. You can stay after class to do it. So I mean, you gotta take the reins of your training. I've been saying that lately a lot. You gotta kind of control your training a little bit more. I have minimal understanding of upper body wrestling and judo. Okay. He shouldn't be teaching himself. Take a private lesson then. Go to judo class. Go to wrestling class. He says, I'll hit 2 to 4 takedowns a week. I'm tired of being so bad at stand up and want to learn stand up. Any tips? Well, go on YouTube. Take a private lesson. Go to a judo gym. Go to a wrestling academy. He says, start every round standing. There you go. And don't pull guard. All right, you good. Same way you get good at escapes, subs, sweeps, etc. on the ground. Practice your takedowns against someone who is actively resisting and doing everything they can to not be taken down. Practice your takedown defense against someone who is doing everything they can to take you down. It's not rocket surgery. Thank you, Reddit. For no-gi, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on specific grips that I'll focus on for a few weeks at a time. Examples: underhooks, overhooks, Russian tie. Most people in BJJ classes don't want to engage in any stand-up fight, though, if they think you're able to wrestle. So the techniques need to be tailored a little and filtered to be stuff that you can quickly do against an opponent trying to disengage from you. Well, go find someone that will work the wrestling with you, man. There's always a dude that wrestled in high school or college or, wants to work some takedowns. He says for gi, this one's a little weird because regular wrestling doesn't work great in the gi, and the art of wrestling in the gi is still a little underdeveloped. Well, because it doesn't work. Otherwise, you got to do sambo, right? You put the gi on, you got to learn more judo. I like the Marcelo Garcia style collar drag to the single leg. I have also had a lot of luck with catching a sleeve and forcing the opponent into a Russian tie, then going for a single leg or tomanage back take. Somebody says drill, baby, drill. Dedicate a lot of your training to drilling sequences and setups. I went from having atrocious stand-up, I mean terrible at blue, to competing and having people label me as a wrestler and assuming I wrestled in school. A lot is going to be from your hand fighting, stance, posture, most of which BJJ is garbage in because, well, we don't use those things. So, of course, we're not going to be good at it. That's like saying a wrestler is terrible on his back. Well, that's because they don't do anything on their back, really. There's free instructionals. There's BJJ Wrestling, Fanatics Wrestling. Start with one takedown and watch more wrestling videos and instructionals online. Learn to chain like you do jiu-jitsu based on your opponent's reactions during training. You can do basics like practicing your penetration step, pause on that, and following through with good form at home and get good at both sides. Grappling isn't a combination between wrestling, judo, and BJJ. Grappling is a combination of all those things. And in jiu-jitsu, you can do wrestling, you can do judo, you can do BJJ, you can do sambo, you can do all that stuff. That means you limiting yourself. There's no limits in jiu-jitsu. You can do whatever you want. You make whatever you want to work, okay? I saw a video recently where two high-level dudes were flow rolling stand up, and it was the closest thing the coolest thing I've ever seen. I would try something like that, but you need the right partner for it, I suppose. Yeah, find someone that also wants to work their takedowns. Bro, you can't tell me there ain't nobody at the jiu-jitsu school that wants to work their takedowns. There's always one person. Let's see. Omar, he says, any tips to compete, Alec? I'm a blue belt. Was thinking to get some Danaher and Gordon instructionals to help me. Yeah. That stuff would help. Yeah, my tips to compete is just go compete, get used to, well, how these guys are saying you got to drill to get better at takedowns. Well, competing is a skill as well. Learning the points. They talked about points a little bit earlier. You got to learn takedowns. You got to learn how to deal with your nerves, how to deal with losing weight or gaining weight. It's a skill set, and so you just got to get out there. It can be kind of scary, but it's also fun. I actually have a great time when I'm competing. I go out there. I wanna do some good jiu-jitsu. Of course, the Danaher stuff can help you. The Gordon instructionals can help you, but you still got to go out there and experience it for yourself. And if say you're a blue belt already, so you can go compete. Yeah, I'm old school, bro. We just throw you into the deep waters. Here you go, sign up for your blue belt. I guess try to do small tournaments first. Do those Jiu-Jitsu World Leagues, those New Breeds, Naga. Try and do those tournaments first, and then jump into IBJJF and ADCC Opens and whatever. Yeah, that's all my tips. Go out there, make sure you know the rules beforehand. That will help a ton. Someone says, as the others have said, you must put yourself in stand-up positions against active resistance as much as possible. You can get move ideas and concepts from online videos, but only with real sparring will you improve. There are some great wrestling drills and games online that will help you train specifics. Things like foot tag and taking turns starting with a single leg and trying to finish/defend from there. I've been working on this for the past year, and while the results are pretty great against other BJJ guys, this has done almost nothing for me against real wrestlers. Well, they got more experience than you. So it will depend on your goals. If you want to be able to take down wrestlers, you need to train with wrestlers. But if all you want is better takedowns versus BJJ in comps and in training, then just add the extra stand-up time to your normal BJJ training. Yeah, if you want to get good at wrestling, guys, you got to immerse yourself into the wrestling culture, into the judo. Start following NCAA, start following high school wrestling, start following international wrestling. Who are the good wrestlers? Whose style might fit your style, your body type? Start watching that kind of stuff, And I'm not the biggest or best wrestler at all, or the best at judo, but I kind of know a little bit of what's going on. I'll try to see what's going on in those sports and see what I can take to my sport. Omar says, and Alec, appreciate that, man. Thank you. No problem. Says, how are you, man? Everything good? Yeah, I'm pretty good. A little beat up. I got a cut on my finger. I got a cut. But otherwise, God's been great to me. Had good health so far. And just happy to be alive and to do what I do. Be streaming on a Saturday night with you guys. Someone says, yep, start standing. Go against the wrestlers and train with them on your own. Top game and passing will help too. I wrestled for 5 years, but my wrestling got a lot better when I started training BJJ with a wrestling mindset, plus doing all of the above. And wrestling is a very technical sport. We think of it being really hard and all grit and cardio conditioning, which it does have some elements of, but at the core of wrestling is very technical. Just watch the Sativ. We watched RIP the Buvazar Sativ. We watched a lot of his clips, and man, he's so technical. That's why he was so good. He was so technical, and you see the moves he's hitting. It was just amazing. It's artwork. So yeah, I'm not gonna stay on too long. I think I've been streaming for an hour. I'm tired, man. I wasn't gonna stream today, but we did a story. We did a story on Hyperfly, guys. That's what we kind of did. That was the whole point of today, was to talk about Hyperfly. Now we got Chujitsu. He says, are BJJ practitioners a bunch of weirdos? Oh no. Let's see what he's got to say.
From Brian, who sent me a message. He's in his early 20s, right? And going to school, doing all the normal stuff. But he says he's been doing jiu-jitsu since he was a teenager. And he says that it's like gotten to the point where some of his family members, some of his friends and peers and things like that, look at what he does, and they're like acting like he's weird.
Oh,
that
dang.
he's strange for going into this room once a day, sometimes 5 days a week, and wrestling around with people and getting all sweaty, right? It's like they act like I'm weird for it. And he was just curious if I've dealt with that before, and if so, how did I deal with it? So I'm not sure, for you guys watching this that aren't Brian, I'm not sure if this has happened to you before, but yeah, Brian, I've been called weird before for it, right? Here's the way that I thought about it back then, and this is how I think about it now. I think all the other people that are calling you weird, they're the weird ones. Right? Because when I remember talking to my family members about this when I was 18, 19, 20, whatever it was, somewhere in that age, things get a little fuzzy as you get older, But I remember talking to them about it, and they would act like I'm strange for doing this wrestling stuff. Why are you doing this? And I remember thinking,
why are you doing this wrestling stuff?
Back at civilization, every civilization pretty much has some combat sport, and it's almost always wrestling. If it's not wrestling, there's a striking art, but almost always wrestling. You have ancient Greece, of course, there's ancient Egypt, India, China, Japan, Norse cultures, they all have wrestling. You can go back and find these cave paintings that date back 15 to 20,000 years ago, and there was wrestling going on, right? So to me, thinking about it, it's this is just something that we do. Right, as humans, we're just wired to do this thing, and we get something from it. Because you got to think, people, even as short as 100, 200 years ago, they didn't even have modern medicine at all. So if they had a tweaked knee, or if they tore something, they were messed up.
Danaher would not have survived back in the day, guys. Danaher would have been done.
Tore meniscus, we can go get cut on, and then we're back on the mats in a few months or something. But these people were physically altered for the rest of their life. So you think, even then, with those kinds of risks, they were still challenging themselves with wrestling as a form of leisure enjoyment, something to do for fun. So I just think about that. So to me, I was this is just something that we do. It kind of makes me think about if you're on a strict diet and someone comes up and tries to offer you pizza or sweets or fast food, and you go, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. They act like you're the weird one. What's wrong with you, right? And just in my bearded opinion, when I look at modern norms in a lot of cases, right? Not all things, because there's a lot of beautiful parts about modern society that I'm all for, and I'm glad that I'm here. I would rather live now than 2,000 years ago any day of the week, right? But still, there's some things that where we live in this technologically advanced world. It's getting more and more technologically advanced, but I feel like it's we never ask, is this better? Is this better for us, right? We have instant communication, but then you have this loneliness epidemic. You have more food in abundance than ever, but then you have people that are, malnutrition with obesity, right? You have a malnutrition epidemic. You have all these issues going on. People will shirk away from any sort of physical challenge that's faced in front of them, and they miss out on the confidence and the physical and health, physical and mental benefits from it, right? So, to me, in a lot of cases with modern culture, it's kind of weird, right? It's weird to me is like seeing people scroll on their phones for hours and be angry at people they don't know.
All right,
makes them feel terrible. Brian, is that like when someone says that you're weird for grappling, you're like, why? Why am I weird? I'm doing something that literally humans have done. Us as grapplers are taking part in a tradition that's been passed down to us for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, that was used as both fighting and sport and enjoyment, rituals, all kinds of stuff. Rites of passage for people. I think it's a beautiful thing. So that's my thoughts. When people say that jiu-jitsu people and grapplers, wrestlers, judoka, sambo people, whatever, are all weirdos, to me, like, you're the weirdo. Maybe I'm a little biased, right? Maybe that happens when you've devoted 20 plus years of something to your life. But anyway, Brian, that's my idea to your brother. Hopefully that helps. And by the way, guys, if you enjoy these rants with me sometimes, you might enjoy my email that I send out daily, usually Monday through Friday. If you guys want to check it out, it's down there.
Shout out to Chew. Yeah, I think we're all weirdos, but you know what? I love you weirdos out there. I love all you weirdos out there. Where's my finger? I love all you weirdos. You special. You're special. You are special. Back on Reddit, we got Black Belts of Reddit. Would you promote someone who isn't rolling? Shout out to Tony. Where's Tony at on this? Tony, you gonna promote somebody that doesn't roll? Tony, yo, cousin Tony, you gonna promote somebody that doesn't roll? I'm gonna go ahead and say no. They ain't gonna get nothing from me. Looking for different perspectives after a conversation with one of my friends. This is for anyone who promotes. Say you have a student who, for whatever reason, does not roll. They drill, they do technique and resistive rounds in class, but never stay for open mat rounds. Do you promote these people? Well, are they rolling? Well, they're not rolling. Oh, right. Stripes or belts. And for everyone, what are your thoughts on gyms that do? So this is kind of the Gracie University model, the Valente Bro model. They let you you get a belt for whatever, bro. Someone says, I may give you a blue belt, but if there are any mitigating circumstances, but I'd really struggle to justify myself promoting to purple or above without a minimum consistent positional rounds. I was thinking about somebody who rolled through all the belts, including brown belt, and then was in some kind of accident and got paralyzed and couldn't roll. Well, that would be different. He had actually been with the gym with over 15 years. It was getting close to getting his black belt when the accident happened. He would still come to class. Well, that's different. He would still come to class after he got in his wheelchair just for a social aspect, but could see he was still committed to jiu-jitsu. In that situation, I do not fault the professors for giving him a black belt. Yeah, I wouldn't fault that. But under normal situations, and especially for someone who has never rolled at any belt level, I think you cannot, in good conscience, give a black belt to them. Yeah. What argument is there, guys? Yeah, that's a special circumstance. Someone getting paralyzed, but still wanting to, be on the mats. That's different. But if they're just a regular able-bodied person that doesn't want to roll, I'm going to suggest they go to Gracie University or, some other gym, or some other martial art, You got to roll in jiu-jitsu, bro. You got to roll, bro. People on Reddit don't want to roll. We got Buchecha again. He says he's critical of the state of BJJ. Athletes are hiding from a tough fight. Is he calling somebody out? He says, these guys hide from a tough fight. It's a stop here. The other day I said this. I gave an interview. I said it makes me sad. Who is he talking about? He said they said he voiced his disapproval. He voiced his disapproval of a growing trend among elite athletes avoiding the tough matches. Jiu-Jitsu, imagine the people explaining to Ricardo Arona that these guys are wanting wanting to fight everyone are wanting so the fight that everyone wants to see, the guys are choosing, avoiding to the maximum. Try to explain to Paulo Fio, these old guys. Well, the old guys are a special breed. He said, I and Rodolfo made a lot of fights. He was the biggest rival I had in my career. I fought with him in the World Cup. He won and caught me. I spent a whole year fighting with him in the near future, and people wanted to see this fight. He said the blame doesn't lie with all the athletes. Instead, he pointed to coaches, managers, and external business pressures that often shape a fighter's career path. I honestly believe that it's not for the athletes, but for people or coaches or businessmen. So I don't think there's a way to blame the athletes. And he says sometimes this excess of care with the athletes ends up being a little harmful to the athletes. You have to be careful that the fighter is the fighter, and the fighters fight at any time. Yeah, but Buchecha, we want to make sure these guys get paid too. Yeah. We almost done, guys. We got Steven Mikic. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. So, we got to show you guys talking about wrestling. We got some wrestlers over here. So if you guys want to get better at wrestling, you know what? Study some wrestlers, okay?
It's one of the hardest feats in the entire world to accomplish. Becoming a world champion wrestler is one of the hardest feats in the entire world to accomplish. Becoming an Olympic champion wrestler is looked at as of equal or even greater difficulty. And to accomplish both world champion and Olympic champion status, you're just considered a legend in the sport of wrestling. Now, to become a world champion wrestler, you're going to have to go and wrestle others who have accomplished these goals already. And for me, it just so happened that the guy to beat was a multiple-time world and Olympic champion. His name is Zaur Uguyev. Uguyev from Russia hails from Dagestan and competed at 57 kilograms the last 5 to 7 years. He is a two-time world champion in 2018 and 2019 and the 2020 Tokyo Olympic champion at 57 kilograms. The lightweights, such as 57, 61, and 65, are looked at as some of the most difficult weights pound for pound due to the high level of competitiveness, technical ability, and skill, along with speed and strength all combined into one. So becoming a multiple-time world champion is a very difficult thing to accomplish. But Zaur Uguyev held the fort down for the last 5 years, being the guy to beat, and kept standing on the top of the podium year after year after year. He was regarded as one of the best pound-for-pound wrestlers in the world at all weight classes because of this, and was, from 2019 until 2023, left a 4-year undefeated streak where he did not lose a match until he faced me, Stevan Micic, in the 2023 World Championship quarterfinals, where I became the first freestyle world champion in Serbia's history. Now, before we get into this story, guys, and we get into what I did to beat Zaur Uguyev and end his unbeaten 4-year run and knock off one of the best wrestlers in this era of wrestling, be sure to go subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn notification bells on for more amazing world-class content.
I'll pay the like
before I
text
get into the story and our history of wrestling with each other, what made Zaur Uguyev such a great wrestler and his ability, what made him special to make him able to be so consistent at such a high level, being able to win and beat everybody and win these matches against some of the best wrestlers in the world. First off, Zaur Uguyev's positioning is phenomenal. Coming from Dagestan, he is the epitome of how a Dagestan wrestler wrestles. Very good stance, high-level positioning, great skill, knows how to wrestle in all positions, and phenomenal on top. Uguyev is someone who's very hard to score on and grab leg attacks on, and keeps his hand fighting positioning very strong. When he needs to score, he finds a way to score. One of the things that he's always been a guy, especially in the more recent years when people started scouting him, he was very difficult to beat because even when guys could keep a match close or even take the lead on him, he always found a way to clutch out a win with he has a beautiful outside step or an underhook attack that he was able to score with short time left and win his matches. Little mistakes, finding ways to score when he needed to be, and then having an X-Factor gut wrench on top allowed him to crack open matches if needed be for him to win in a dominant fashion against some of the best in the world. If you look at his Tokyo 2020 run, he was down in almost every match into the finals and came back with a takedown in the last minute or 30 seconds to win each match, going up into the finals where he won against Ravi Kumar from India. Now to go into my side of the story, in order for me to win that world title in 2023, I had others in the weight who were also previous world champions, such as Zelenkan Abakarov and Rei Higuchi from Japan. But Uguyev was still that guy to beat. He had been unbeaten in 4 years, hadn't lost since the 2019 European Games, where he suffered a defeat against a wrestler from Azerbaijan in the semifinals, where he went on to avenge his loss against him first round of the 2019
trip,
World
bro,
Championships,
it's crazy.
and he went on to win a
see
gold
that
medal
thing?
that year. I was also in
Duck
that weight
unders and
class where I
inside
took
trips.
5th at the Worlds
Nice.
and qualified for the Olympic Games, where I was also in Uguev's bracket in Tokyo 2020. So I've always been there firsthand to witness Uguev's ability to win big matches in big moments, such as the World and Olympics. But also, let's backtrack just a little bit to go to how me and Uguev had previous history of wrestling each other and knowing each other before competing at the 2023 World Championships. As you guys have seen in my previous video of how I spent 3 weeks in Dagestan when I was 17 years old, I spent time training with Uguev for a few weeks
to Dagestan?
in training camp in Kasivert, Dagestan,
Yo.
and getting to know him and become friends with him when we were
why
very
his
young.
parents do that
Then
to
in
him?
2018, in my first competition
That's how he won
representing
the Worlds.
Serbia, I wrestled him in Dagestan in my very first match ever at the senior level, wrestling Uguev in a crazy close match. The match was 6-4. Making weight, this was my first time making 57 kilos ever, which was especially hard the first time because I was a 133-pound wrestler for the University of Michigan and had to make this cut down to 125 pounds, which I've never done before. Also drawing a native Russian, a Dagestan wrestler who also was a friend of mine, I was a little bit nervous and complacent in my match. Just wanted to make sure I kept positioning and didn't go too wild where I would be exposed or show any lack of experience when stepping on the mat with Uguev, who was already a world team member previously the year before for Russia at the senior level. The match started off good for me, where I actually got the first takedown and went up 2-0 with a knee pull, where I took the lead 2-0, getting the first takedown with my classic knee pull single leg. But then I felt like I just kind of held position a little bit more, and then while Uguev just started opening up the match, getting 2 takedowns as the match went on, and a third takedown, being up 6-2. Then at the end of the match with the last minute to go, I got a front headlock and got one of my favorite moves, the little shuck by that I hit from the front headlock to get a 2 point surprising Uguev. And then when we were called back up to our feet, I just needed one takedown to win, but I couldn't find it and ended up falling 6-4. Uguev went on to make the finals and take silver that year at the European Championships, where I won my first medal for Serbia, claiming bronze. That year, I didn't wrestle in the World Championships due to a small knee injury, but Uguev ended up winning his first world title.
He didn't do the Olympics because of a knee injury as well.
Hungary. From 2018 all the way up until 2023, I had some developing to do in the sport of wrestling. I needed to get better in my positioning. I needed to increase my technique, but more than anything, I needed my mental and my tactics to match up on point so I could be more consistent. Consistency was probably my biggest problem wrestling at the senior level while in college at the University of Michigan, due to the fact that I was in between competing folk style and freestyle half the year with each other, as well as trying to maintain cutting down to 57 kilos while also competing at 133 pounds. I also felt that I would always be the guy to win big matches when they didn't matter as much, where I had beaten Nurislam Sanaya from Kazakhstan, as well as Suleiman Atli from Turkey, both world silver medalists, who then I ended up falling to and losing to in the 2019 World Championships, where I took 5th and didn't medal that year. Luckily at that tournament, I qualified for the Tokyo Olympics, but still had some work to do. Being sick and having mono at the Olympics in Tokyo did not help, and especially drawing Yuki Takahashi from Japan, who's one of the best wrestlers at 57 kilograms, a former world champion in his home country, made things difficult. But going on from that point and improving, getting stronger, and getting more technically sound, seeing Uguev on the top of the podium, I knew that I was close because I could keep matches close, but I noticed the discipline that he wrestled with, and I had to take something out of his book and make sure I was more of a disciplined wrestler. After I graduated college in 2022, I moved back home, where I had my dad coaching me full-time and was locked in with my freestyle coaching full-time, having amazing world-class partners with me in the Chicagoland area. I was really able to notice a jump in my levels of consistency in my training, in my confidence, in my abilities that I was able to execute when the time needed and when it mattered. I went on to go win my first world medal, taking bronze at the 2022 World Championships in Serbia. Unfortunately, Russia was not allowed to compete in this World Championships due to the war, Ukraine, so Uguev was not there. But he had still wrestled over the summer in Russia and won every tournament he had competed in, including the Russian Nationals, as well as wrestling in the Russian league called PWL, taking on some of the other top world and Olympic medalists and still winning over them, even though they were competing in the World Championships themselves. But this bronze medal gave me a lot of confidence, knowing that I was able to compete and still be at this level, and actually now I can go on to win gold in my mind. 1 year later, I happened to draw Uguev in the World Quarterfinals, which is a very difficult matchup to have, especially early on in the tournament. Now, going into the match, regardless of how good Uguev was, he always respected me on and off the mat, especially as a competitor that I was always keeping good matches and had beaten world-class opponents, so I was right there in a match. Uguev struck first, getting the first takedown, and when we get back up to our feet, we end up getting in another scramble position from a whizzer, I actually expose his back, but he gets another 2-point takedown. The scramble was exhausting, especially with my weight cut being a big factor in the tournament. I needed to recover a little bit because the call the referee put on the mat was a little challenging and questionable. So I made sure that we had our coaches throw the challenge brick so I could reset mentally and physically and get some recovery time back for myself. I ended up losing a point going down 5-2. Uguev scouted me out very well. Every time I went for one of my fake front headlocks, instead of reacting like a normal wrestler did, he timed it and took an amazing single leg takedown. He took the lead 7-2 going to the break after the first period. At this point, I went to my dad in the corner and I knew we had to change something in my tactics of wrestling Uguev. I noticed my right collar tie wasn't doing anything to him and he wasn't being fazed by anything I was doing, so I knew I had to create some new action and motion using my left hand, incorporating in my snaps, my fakes, and changing my wrestling up a little bit. But now I was trailing and I had to come out a lot harder this second period. Now going into the second period, once I started getting my hands moving and adjusting my tactics, it came to awe that it ended up actually working and was getting Uguev to react differently than he had been in the first period. Now, I end up scoring my first takedown of the second period, closing the lead to now 7-4. Now with about a minute left in the period, we get in a couple scramble positions, one of which where I get to another takedown from the seatbelt position, scoring, and now the match being 7-6 with very short time left, maybe about 30 seconds left. At this point, I wasn't even thinking anymore. I was only reacting off of what I had been trained to do for the past 2 years, just believing in my abilities to win and score and just let my body take over and my instincts to kick in instead of overthinking. Now, in this match, Uguev seemed to be shocked as well and knew that I was coming back and that the momentum was fully on my side. As I kept going with 30 seconds, I kept moving, and as I had practiced millions of times how to finish off a match with 30 seconds left and how to score my last takedown to win the match, I ended up finding a leg with one of my shots, splitting the middle and taking him down with only seconds to go, leading to one of the biggest upsets of this generation, in my opinion, where I had taken down Zaur Uguev, two-time world champion and Olympic champion, in the quarterfinals at the World Championships with a buzzer beater takedown to win the match in my home country. Couldn't really get better than that and couldn't script it any better than that. I go on to end up winning my gold medal, avenging a loss to Abukar in the semifinals, and then going on to beat Rei Higuchi from Japan in the finals, winning my first world title, becoming Serbia's first world gold medalist in freestyle history. It was one of the best feelings to do, especially when having to take out one of the best wrestlers pound for pound, especially in the times like this where we had multiple world and Olympic champions in my weight class, which made me feel like I beat everybody I had to win the tournament. I have full respect for Uguev because he was someone who had led the way at 57 kilograms and had been somebody who had been so hard to beat, and no matter who faced him, he always seemed to get his hand raised. It was awesome to be the guy to knock him off and dethrone him, to become the new champion, to become the new king at the weight class. So yeah, that's my story of how I beat Zaur Uguev, multiple-time world and Olympic champion. World champs in everything we do, baby. Make sure to go and subscribe for more. We got more to come.
Awesome. Shout out to Steven Mikic. Or Steven Mikic, however you want to say. I'm tired. Yo, guys. So, we talked about wrestling. If you guys want to get better at wrestling and, immerse yourself in wrestling culture. So I really like wrestling culture. I like the wrestlers. They're not so much about social media and talking a lot of crap. They're more about training hard and, improving. So if you guys want to get better at wrestling, try learning about the wrestlers in America and Japan, in Europe and Russia, Dagestan. Study the YouTube videos, watch the matches. They have Olympics, they have World Championships, they got Olympic trials, they got World Team trials, they got Beat the Streets. They got so many things. They got U.S. Open of wrestling. They got so many things for us to watch and partake in. So, Judo's the same, they got stuff for us to watch in judo. So just immerse yourself, if you want to understand these art forms, really do it sincerely. That's the key. It's got to be sincere. You can't just want to learn how to do a double leg. I want you to study who are the great double leg artists. So off the top of my head, I know that Jordan Burroughs has got one of the best one of the best double leg takedowns. You know, oh, let's study Jordan Burroughs. Or, you know, you want to see someone with really good parterre. Okay, let's look at David Taylor. So, yeah, just immerse yourself. And I think that's it, guys. We did a lot today. And all this stream today was about the Hyperfly. You know, I'll make a post on social media later. But again, huge shout out to them for you know, listening to the community. I know a few people were upset, but I appreciate them. Yeah, we got some more comments on here too. Oh, here we go. Let's read a few more comments. Let's see. Regardless of the stand, it's cool to see a brand that listens to the voices of the people it's focusing on. Currently my favorite brand to spend money on, especially because I know you guys go out of your way to be the right people's brand. Someone says, thank you, my friend, Hyperfly. Get out of there. So proud to be a part of Hyperfly. The message they are giving is huge. They are listening and respecting how many women felt about the collab. So that's great. Again, I'm not taking credit for that, but I did my part a little bit. You know, I did my part a little bit to help, you know, to bring this to light. So shout out to Hyperfly. If you guys like to support the channel, check out Inverted Gear, invertedgear.com. Offer code ALEC. We also got the BJJ Mental Models sponsor. Same thing, offer code ALEC. If you're looking for instruction or coaching or anything, BJJ Mental Models. And that's it, guys. I'm tired. We're going to play my intro, outro, and I'll see you guys maybe not tomorrow, but probably on Monday. All right, see you guys. I got some Neosporin. I got to put that on. You guys see that? That's the good stuff right there. Hey, Inverted Gear, guys. Check them out. Nope, no Playboy bunnies over here, guys. Just Jason, what's up, Jason? I missed you, bro. Wait a second. Yo, Jason about to jump off. He says Daniel Cormier sent his high school wrestlers to Dagestan for a month. They do 30 minutes of gymnastics as their warm-up. Same thing in Japan. You got to do some gymnastics, guys. It's, you know, people here in America, they hate doing warm-ups. So, but, you know, the wrestlers warm up. The judokas warm up. You know, maybe they're onto something. So, all right, Jason, I'll see you probably Monday, bro. I'm not sure if I'll do Sunday or tomorrow, but I definitely think I'll be on Monday. Let's play that outro one more time. See you guys. Hey, see you guys. Go enjoy yourself. Don't party too hard on Saturday. Hey, Inverted Gear.